Welcome to Jen's Daily Dish. Today we're making apple pie bars. You could call them hand pies as well. It's going to be an apple pie that you can hold in your hand and eat. What is not to like about that? As for apples, I'm using a combination of Granny Smith, Jazz, and Snapdragon. So it's great to use a different combination that I've sliced really thin. It's all going in. It's gonna be super delicious. Perfect for the fall, winter, even spring and summer. I'm also making it because I got an apple pie in my hands, Granny Smith and Jazz in my hands, sweet and flaky crust in my hands. I got an apple pie in my hands. Yes. First, we're gonna make the crust and let that sit in the fridge for a bit to get nice and cold. Keeping that butter cold, really important. And then we're gonna make the filling. And then we just put it together and stick it in the oven. How easy is that? Have I made this before? No, I have not. But I did make those strawberry hand pies, and I'm convinced that I can do this. So let's do this together, you and I. 2 cups of pastry flour or all-purpose flour. 1/2 teaspoon salt. 8 tablespoons cold, unsalted butter cut into pats. This is 6 tablespoons of ice cold water. I'm going to start by mixing the butter in first, and then we're going to add the water in to make it all come together. Start with 4 tablespoons and then see if you need extra ice water to make this all come together. I needed it all. Split your dough into 2 and then take one and then put it on some plastic wrap. Do this with the other one too. Make a rectangle best you can. Once you've made your 2 rectangles of pastry, go ahead, stick it in the fridge for an hour. Look at all those beautiful colors of the different apples. This is going to be great in these apple hand pies / bars. The Granny Smith apples are definitely the tartest of the bunch, and they will hold their shape the best. But the other ones, like the Jazz, they'll add some sweetness in there. 1/3 cup of sugar plus 1½ tablespoons. 3/4 teaspoon apple pie spice. The recipe calls for boiled cider, which is basically like taking apple cider, sitting it on your stove for about 7 hours until it's about 1/7 to 1/8 down condensed version of itself. You can also buy this, which is what I did, but feel free to make your own, or you can substitute. I've known people who have put vanilla in and that has worked, so feel free to just play around with it. It'll work out, I promise. 2 tablespoons boiled cider. The recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of pie filling enhancer, which adds some sugar into the recipe, which is why I added that extra tablespoon in. I'm not using that pie filling enhancer. This is a tablespoon of instant CLEARJEL, but you can use a tablespoon of cornstarch also. 1 tablespoon lemon juice. Mix together. While the dough is cooling, preheat your oven to 425 degrees. We're going to roll out the first rectangle into a 17 by 7 rectangle. Go ahead and flour your surface just in case. I remember from my other recipes with pastry, it can get very sticky very quickly. You want to try to do this as quickly as possible because the butter will start to melt. So get your rolling pin nice and floured. Cut off the excess. over to a piece of parchment paper, and don't worry about anything that is falling apart. We're going to fix that on the back end. Go ahead and brush this with the egg wash. This is 1 large egg with 1 tablespoon of water. Everything is going to turn out just fine. I know it doesn't look like it just yet. Spread the delicious filling within 3/4 of an inch of the edge. Try to get it as flat as possible, as evenly as possible. Other piece of pastry and place it over the top. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fold it up this way and then crimp it out in order to make sure that these edges fit nicely as possible. So I'm going to press it down as much as possible and sort of get that filling in there. And I'm going to roll it up like this. Crimp it down with a fork, fingers, whatever it might be, and I know that some of these edges are a little dicey here. Just do your best. With the extra, feel free to go ahead, have some fun, make some fun shapes. Cover the whole thing with the egg wash. Cut a few vents so that the steam will have a place to escape of your choosing. Bake for 15 minutes at 425. Then we're going to come back and lower the temperature to 375 for another additional minutes. It's been 15 minutes, it's coming along nicely and hasn't exploded. Lower your temperature to 375 for about 12 to 14 minutes until it's golden brown. It is golden brown. Let's take it out. Oh boy. All right. Let this cool for a bit. I'm going to move it over to cool completely, and then we're going to cut it. Actually, it's not going to cool completely. We're going to cut it before that happens so we can eat it warm. Look how good this looks. Those apples I made are standing out. And I added some sparkling sugar at the very end. Let's go ahead and cut it. Oh, nice and flaky. Look at that. Look at this, standing on its own, and the filling is not oozing out. Yay! Sparkling sugar stayed on top, looks quite nice. And it smells like apple pie, just like it should. Only one thing left to do. Let's taste it. This is great. This is an apple pie bar, apple hand pie, apple turnover, apple whatever you want to call it. It is called delicious. If I can make apple pie bars, hand pies, turnovers, heck, let's just call it an apple pie. For the very first time with you watching me, you can too. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check me out on Instagram.